A couple of months back, I made my wife a calendar holder out of spotted gum, and at the time I thought it would be pretty cool to have maybe a spice rack out of a similar design, so there'll be two projects that sort of look similar hanging up in the kitchen. So over the space of a couple of hours, that's pretty much what I've done here. The rack is very simple to make. It's only 5 boards and it's mainly held together with half laps and a lot of glue, so anyone can build this one. It's very simple. I made this one pretty much entirely on the table saw, I think. A little bit of sanding, and that is probably the only power tools that I use. I probably should be using hand tools to, practice some joinery and that sort of thing. But with this one, I had a couple of hours spare, so I thought I'm going to go out and get it done. So that's pretty much what I've done here. Watch along, came out pretty good. In my mind, a spice rack is pretty much up there as one of the most woodworking type of woodworking projects that you can do. I mean, like it's a chopping board or a simple box or something like that. It's pretty much what woodworking is when I think about it. So it was a fun little project to make. It only took a couple of hours, a few bits of scrap wood, and it turned out really nice. It's useful. It should be good to have in the kitchen. And to help keep this aligned for the next cut, I'm just going to put this in here. So, because I'm an idiot and I tried to put sort of a pin in here so that I could keep these two aligned when I was cutting them, the pin that I used was a little bit too wide and it popped off the end of the wood. There really wasn't a lot of wood here left for it to really have any strength, so probably wasn't a good idea cutting it so close to the end anyway. So, change of plans. I'm going to cut another half lap on this one and it's going to tuck in sort of like that, which means this very last bit can disappear. So here's the bottom shelf of the rack. That's going to go like that. Then the side piece is going to come in and go there. So basically, or just roughly, I need to cut out a rectangle like that. So after a dry fit, this is what it looks like. It seems to be coming out okay. I'm pretty happy with it. It would have been better if I didn't stuff up the bottom and cut off that little bit, because I did want to have the same angle and everything as I do on the calendar holder. But oh well. I'll still be able to put the same curve on the top, but I will be very, very careful doing it because I don't want to have the same thing happen to the top and have it break off. Other than that, the shelves seem fine. It fits them pretty much perfectly, and it's going to fit exactly where it goes really, really nicely. So I think I'll just clean it up and get it ready for glue. Now my saw blade leaves flattish surfaces when I make cuts like this, but not perfectly flat. So I'm just using the chisel just to scrape them flat perfectly. And after a dry fit, I decided that I really just didn't like the look of the ribs on the back of the flat piece that goes to the back. So that was some Mergo decking, but I've changed that over to a piece of spotted gum just because it's flat on both sides. On the shelves, I actually quite like the look, so I'll leave those ones, but the one on the back is going to be cut from this now. So I finished the sanding and I was just about ready to start the glue up when I realised that I'd have to mount it to the wall somehow. What I'm going to use are these little hooks. You screw one into the piece and then I just put a screw in the wall and this hooks onto it. But if I do it just like this, because this isn't inset at all, it's going to, the whole rack will sit sort of not flush against the wall. It'll stick out a little bit and I don't want that to happen. So I'm just going to use a Forstner bit, dig out a little an inlay or an inset or something I guess, and then put the hook inside that, and then that way when I put it against the wall, everything's nice and flush. While it is different to the calendar holder, they do actually look pretty similar. So it does look like they're sort of, well, maybe a set. And it's also just really handy. Like all the spices are right where we prepare dinner now. It's taken all those jars were just sort of tucked away in a corner of the pantry, so it's cleared that out, and it just sort of looks nice up in the kitchen. We've got awful green flowery wallpaper that's in there that I've got to rip down. So, you know, this has taken up a good half-metre section of it and gotten rid of that eyesore basically. I decided against installing a back panel on this one, just because I didn't want to lose that 3 to 4 mil of space that the panel would take up in the back there. And I also don't have a rail on the front because I'm sort of hoping that the shelves are flat, so the jars will just sit on top and they're not going to topple over. If I find out that as we put jars away or pick them up, we start knocking the other ones and they start falling off, that will be a problem. In that case, I'll probably get a thin piece of board, cut a couple of notches on each side and sort of inlay this in there, just so the jar can sit behind a rail. But I don't think we'll have a problem. I mean, it's picking up a jar. Surely we can, be coordinated enough not to drop them all over the place. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. If you're interested, I've got a little bit more information on my website, which you can hit the link below and you'll get there. And I'll probably also put the SketchUp model there as well if you want to download it. All the best, guys. I'll catch you in a couple of weeks.